Welcome to this The Erect Posture presentation. The Erect Posture is body orthodontics. Exercise designed by an orthodontist to straighten the body posture like teeth, and it's done in 7 steps. And the 7 steps are these, okay? And we're going to talk about head forward posture and how it's corrected. It's corrected at levels 5 and 6 in specific, but everything has to be right to get it right. And you will learn how. Now, I want to tell you who I am. I'm the retired orthodontist that was talking about here. But more important than that, I'm an 82-year-old retired orthodontist. And what I do is I am trying to make it known, make it public knowledge, make it common knowledge even, how to sit up straight, how to get the body plumb with gravity. And I submit to you my result to date at 82. This is me knowing how to sit up straight, okay? And I should say that if you're younger than I am, you should go higher than I am, right? You just need to know how. And I'm here to teach you, okay? So that's the thing I wanted to let you know, that if an old lady can, and in this one we're going to talk about how high do you hold your head. Is your head out here? I don't need to practice. Is your head out here? Or is your head up here? This is what you're learning to do today, is to get yourself upright. Right? Let's go. Let's start with thanks. The first person I want to thank today is my sister. My sister, Jackie, my yoga teacher. But we both were into yoga when we were young. But what she gave me that I value more than just, not more. She's my sister, okay? And we love each other. But more than that, she gave me the importance of anatomy in yoga, right? And this is the result, partially the results of that. Because if you look at this and at the end of it, you sort of subtract out the anatomy and say I was just going on how it feels, you can see how much would be missing. So I thank my sister for tipping me off on the importance of anatomy in learning how to position your body. I thank you for joining this session. A very special thank you to if this is a repeat visit, and another very special thanks to the person who referred you, or if you referred someone. Please subscribe, ring the bell, thumbs up, tell a friend and family about the site, and come again. Okay, let's continue going now. These are the 7 steps. What you're looking for in finding out what erect posture is, you need to see that there are always the 3 curves, and they are more or less balanced. And more than anything, more than this model right here, your head should be behind your body. At the top of a stacked spine, your head is here. Okay? Let's go. The phrase I got put on the web was, hate, chin tuck neck. Learn how to hold your head high instead. In other words, I know that there's this happening out there in the world, and my sister and my husband wouldn't let me come out with it. One of the things that they would say is, that can't be right. Look what your neck looks like under there when you do that. And so anyone who's trying to they have a head forward position, and they're trying to get their head back in position, and they think it's a push back. This is no. Stack your spine and let your head rest atop a erect spine, and your head will be held high, and you don't need that. Okay? Technology and poor seated posture have resulted in almost ever-present forward head posture. But look around you and see that the head is projected forward as part of our overly round upper back with a collapsed chest. And that this sits atop of postural misalignment down to the seat, to the feet. That is all getting worse with age, bringing shoulder, neck, and back pains in their wake. Now let me offer postural correction using the erect posture seated exercise, where sitting erect is the exercise and the final product. Postural alignment in the erect posture is taught in 7 steps, and the only equipment needed is a chair. Sitting erect means aligning your spine with gravity so that the supporting structures of the body are made healthy by the interaction. To get started, the 3 curves that I say that we are seeking and that would get rid of the problem anywhere along the spine is going to come from stacking the vertebra, right? And when I say stacking the vertebra, I need you to know the bodies of the vertebra right here have the shape of the 3 curves. So when I'm telling you you're getting 3 curves, you have to know those are not arbitrary. That means that you stacked it right. When you stack that spine plumb with gravity, or the way it was designed to be used, the shape of the bodies of the vertebra in the lumbar and in the thoracic and in the cervical is a little different, but the shape of the bony structure of the vertebra when they are aligned give you the 3 curves. In other words, the 3 curves are not arbitrary. You don't have to figure out how do you get your 3 curves other than figuring out how to stack those vertebrae. The bony surfaces have within them the stacked spine. The muscles that stack them will be attached, will go only from vertebra to vertebra, and they're called the deep intrinsic spinal muscles from top to bottom. Those are the muscles that stack the spine. And so this group will be a stacked, then this group will be stacked, then this group will be stacked, and then finally that. Okay? And when they are not, then the posture will be wrong. It's just that simple. So that's all you're doing, is you're learning how to make the muscles here contract so that they stack the spine there. If a muscle is in control, or gravity is in control, you will bend the spine. In other words, if no muscle is being used and you're slumping, then you'll bend the spine. I can't do all these things. If no muscle is being used, the spine will slump because gravity brings you that way. If these are the right muscles are engaged, then the spine will stack. If muscles too far back, like if you think it's a shoulder and you do it like that, then that muscle is too back far. It's going to engage some muscles that are not supposed to hold you spine right, and therefore they'll tire. So we're going to learn how the erect posture is going to teach you how to stack that spine. Rules. Okay, so it's an exercise, and it's a seated exercise. So take your chair, and now we're going to start learning the rules for the exercise. The first one is there's no gain in pain. If it hurts you, just don't do it. I didn't tell you to do it. I told you not to do it, in fact. I'm telling you now officially. If what I tell you to do hurts you, then you drop out of the group. I can't help you. Now, I'll give one caveat, one little modifier. If you're doing it with too hard a force, right, it should be just the amount of force it takes to get you there. In other words, I'm as high as I want to get, or that I get. This is my erect posture. And I don't need to go higher or harder to get there. I need to go there. And when I get there, I get as soft as I can. And the only place that isn't true, where you're going to the softest it takes to hold a position, is at the waist. If you want to fire up your waist harder, that's where fire is. Okay? Okay? And you do that when you were doing your exercise, when you're doing your 7 breaths 7 times a day, which is down here. That's when you can bring the fire. If you really want to get your waist, if you really don't like your waist, if your waist is thick meaning you don't taper in the waist. Your numbers are not right. Your waist is thicker than you want it to be. Do the 7 with fire. Seven times a day. Do it with fire. But then after you get through, exercise holding without the fire. Next thing is, we're not trying to get a stiff posture. We're trying to get within that range of erect posture. So there's a dance that you do, but it isn't rhythmic and it doesn't go to the same place all the time. It's like, wow, wow, wow. Give yourself a chance to find ideal at different levels, so that you may rock from side to side, but rock at different levels. Down at the seat, up at high, neck high. Okay? Dance like movement, flicker. Okay, let's start going. First thing is, you're going to be on a chair. Okay? I'm in a chair designed for me. I've set the height so that my seat is above my knee. So when I'm sitting in my chair, my whole knee is below that seat. So that's the chair I'm on. And if you're a person who works seated and you want to get a chair that matches you, you need one that lifts you up high enough so that when your thigh goes downhill, your knee is below your seat. Okay? You are avoiding that one. I'm telling you in this instruction, if the thigh is on the chair, if you've slid all the way back in your chair, you can try to get right, but you're not. You will find that you'll lose your lower curve. So to get your lower curve, this is how you get your lower curve. The 4 points, the geometry of this is a square, and the 4 points of the square are your 2 feet, your 2 ischial tuberosities. So here's what you want to do. In a chair, you need to let your thigh go down here. There's my thigh going down here. There it is going down here. And this is parallel to the floor. You can see the slope. You want that slope. There is a reason to be discussed at another time. But you want that slope, right? So to get that slope, you have to sit on the edge of your chair, but securely on it, so that your ischial tuberosities, your sit bones, are on the edge, near the edge of the chair, and you're securely on it. Securely on it, and it's hitting the chair at the level of your gluteal fold. Okay? So that's where you feel the chair, right down in there on your gluteal fold. And that's one way of doing it, and that's my favorite way of doing it. There's another, and that is cross your shins or your ankles and let your knees fall out. You do that, that's how it's done if you're doing it on a cushion or something really low, or if that's not uncomfortable. That's not comfortable for me now. The only one that's comfortable for me now is to let my feet go out. Again, don't do anything that hurts. Okay? So if you're capable of that one, and a lot of people will be, then that's the other way of doing it. Okay? But one of these, choose it right now and drop the one that hurts. Okay? Let's go to level 2. Level 2 is, I put this level up here. We're going to level our bowl. We have a bowl, and it's like we're kids and we're learning to carry milk in a bowl without spilling. And our bowl is our pelvis. The pelvis means bowl or chalice, Greek or Latin. I can't teach you to stand up straight because I can't tell you how to get your bowl level. Therefore, I teach sitting for a while and recommend you get good at sitting before you stand up and get the same feeling. Once you've internalized what it feels like to sit up straight, then you're ready to stand up straight and just hold the same feeling. But until you can do that, let's teach you how to tell when your pelvis is in the right position. And what I mean by that, if this is ideal, you see people standing and people also sit on their tailbone, where they've tucked themselves under, right? And when you do that, your gut gets bunched in, right? Your back rounds, because this flattens. The lumbar, the curve in the lower back flattens when you tuck that tailbone under. Standing and sitting. Now, the other end of that is you push your tailbone out too far. In that case, you dump your gut. Your gut will be protruding out from under your ribs. Your lower back is too curved, right? You need neither one or the other. You don't need your tailbone on a chair, and you don't need it lifted up too high. You don't need your gut trapped between your pubic bone and your ribs, and you don't need it just allowed to dump out. So here's how we're going to find it. First of all, let me give you a golden position that's going to serve you in a whole bunch of ways. So put your hand in this position. I'm holding my hand like I have a mic in it with a real thick stem. I have a trophy. It's a round base trophy. Or I have a bridal bouquet where there's natural flowers in it, and it's a big bulky stem, and they wrapped it in ribbon. Whatever it is, I'm holding it. And the reason I'm doing that is most people think poor posture is you got to get your shoulders right. No, it's your rib cage. This is one of the things my sister taught us. Your shoulder blades are riding on your rib cage. So as you change the shape of your rib cage, your shoulders take a different position. So you just want to hold this here so that you're not thinking I'm telling you to do this at any point. Leave it where the hand dropped it. Your shoulders right there. And now let's start leveling our bone. Dump back. Put your tailbone toward the chair. And notice that your gut gets trapped between your ribs and your pubis. And so this is when your gut will be at its thickest. If you want to have a thick gut, sit like this, because that gut was supposed to have length. You close down that length and it gets thick. So you don't want that. And here's the other end. Dump your gut out as much as you can. Make that back curve as much as you can. You don't want that. No. So let's start narrowing down. Come out of too high and go to where you know you feel the ribs in the wrong place. And then go high again, but don't try to go just so you feel the dump, and then back off. And then slump and back off. And find the point where you think neither is happening. That's what we're searching for. And that's how you get it. And so all during the time we're going through these procedures, you're going to have to go back and recover your position. I will give you a tip that's going to last you, that's going to become real for you later with time. Where your ischial tuberosity is hitting that chair is when your bone is balanced. And at some point, you're going to start knowing where that point is. And if anybody tells you to sit up straight, you immediately just push that into the chair. Push that into the chair, and that's all I'm doing right now. I know my point. I'm pushing it into the chair. And that gets me where if I go a little further, dump, a little further, slump, dump, and in between. But I know that by chair position, ischial tuberosity on the chair. Okay, once you have that, you have level 2 done, and we're level for level 3. Now it's at level 3 and above that we set the 3 curves. So the first curve, establish the first curve, the lumbar curve. In order for you to localize it, so it's just this part, not some muscle back behind there, not some muscle in front of there, but right there in that spine. Those are the ones we're trying to wake up. And the way you wake them up is exhale by contracting your waist and making it as small as you can. Then relax. Exhale and make it as small as you can. Exhale and make it as small as you can. We're trying to find that muscle that is active when you're holding it as tight as you can. And when you find him, I need you to learn how to separate him out from all the other muscles that joined in the group, right? Exhale, find him. Now let your stomach go, but hold him tight. Hold the one right out here on the side, because when you're holding him, you will find that your lumbar spine is now active. That's all we were trying to do, was activate that. But in order to activate that and no other muscle, we had to find a muscle. We had to find a muscle or a job that took a muscle contracting, where only if that muscle can't do its job, the job you described, like my job was make your waist as small as possible. That is a circular muscle. His contractile tissue is only out on the side, but he actually circles the whole waist. He has thick fascial tissue connecting this side to that side, running behind the muscle that makes the six pack, and running to get its origin at the spine. And it's that origin at the spine that if it doesn't get stiff, you can't bring that muscle back. And therefore, when you tell it to get small, you just told the lower spine to activate. And now you want to tell it to stay active, and all you have to do is figure out how to keep that area firm while you let your stomach go soft. You work that one out right now. Keep this strong right in here, and let that go soft. And now you've got your lumbar curve established. You've also turned on your waist nipper, so that if your waist hip ratio isn't what you want it to be, in other words, you don't have a smallest waist you want. See, you can't have a real small waist when you're overweight. But relative to your hips, it doesn't matter your weight. If this muscle is on, your waist will be small compared to your hips because you've used your natural waist cinch. That thing that people buy and put around their waist in the futile attempt to get a smaller waist. No, fire this one up, learn this one, and your waist will get smaller compared to your hips. Okay? That cross section of the body is owned by National Library of Medicine, and is part of the Visible Human Project. You have access to it, but I have to let you know that's their copyright. Okay? Next thing. So we're on the ischial tuberosity. We're working our way up. We're on the ischial tuberosity. We've balanced our bone. We now have this muscle tight, and now we're about to go to the rib cage and get it right. To get that right, I need you to see that the logo in this case is two triangles. One triangle at the bottom, one triangle at the top. The rib cage actually is divided into two curves, one up top and one at the bottom. It makes the spine say, we're going to trap this area, and then we're going to get that area. We're going to get that curve. Okay? And so the two triangles we're getting it. And the first one is, let's get the one down at the bottom. Reestablish your other one. And now, right here, between here and here, right at the armpits, widen your chest. Just make it a widen. That's what that is. That says widen here. Widen here. Just go in there and make that wide. Okay? My shoulders, my back got flat. If you like this, when you do that, your back gets flatter, right? Because a flat chest is a round back. A flat chest is a round back. And a lifted chest is a flat back. You see? So when I tell you to widen here, I'm just I'm lifting and widening the upper chest, right? There are muscles involved. You don't need to know them. You need to know this, but just to let you see how it's done. The pectoralis minor is made to activate as the lower trapezius pulls the chest around. Wow. If I told you the muscles, you'll never get it right. But just telling you this, I made the muscles happen. I made you get this area of your spine to get active. Now, if you feel your back, once you widen that, feel your back, you feel your lumbar curve active, right? And you feel the lower thoracic curve active. The second half is this one. You widen here. Okay? When you widen there, you feel the tension here. The reason is the serratus anterior links with rhomboids, and the only way you can make that wider is for the serratus anterior to pull those out to the side as the rhomboid makes the upper neck, upper thoracic curve flatten. There's the answer. You widen and you widen while you hold this tight, while you have a balanced bone. Okay? We're moving on up. The next one is the head too far forward. I see people who have a break right there. They have good posture, but because we're doing this, we're losing that head up, head held high thing. It's a rotary motion. When your head is forward, there's actually just these muscles in the cervical and lumbar thoracic spine, they just open up. I call it the hackles. These vertebrae open up, and what you're going to do is close them. So it's, you like that, and you just take your head and tip it back. When you tip it back, you've got those to collapse. There's the picture right there. You've got those, and what you're looking at is a circle within a circle. The larger circle being the muscles of the neck, the smaller circle being your trachea, your larynx, your trachea. When your head is forward, you look at people and you can see all of this sticking out. You see this area slanted. It's not a good tight fit. Why? Because this is a shorter distance from the 2 points, right? You move that out and that just slurred. When you pull your head back up, right, because you stretch that neck up, the definition under here gets better. So it's here, and just stay there until we get there. We're there, but what we've done is, if you look at it, in this picture right here, when your head was forward, your chin was jutted out, your neck was thicker at the top because you rolled it out and made it thick like that rather than a circle all the way up. Right? So you lean back and get that neck to lift. And we're going to stop there. Oh, and notice one thing. When you got everything there and then you do that, feel that 2 muscles contracted. You got this one did the job, but because you transferred your weight further back, the serratus posterior inferior contracted too. And now stop there, and that enclosed your windpipe. And now we're ready for 6. 6 is hold your head where it is, your neck where it is, and let your head drop. And I used to do it like this. Put my hand here. And this gets a better definition. Now, I'm 82, and that doesn't get so defined because this has gotten soft and it was stretched out. But if you're younger, you'll probably get a much prettier neck. The younger you are, once you learn this, your neck with time will just thin out. And you get a better angle here. Whap, whap. And you'd have a definite neck. You have a long, separated neck from your body. I see people like this, and I say, you couldn't cut off their head if you try. You'd have to run into their jaw because they brought the head forward. That hurts. I can't do that. So here we go. That's how you drop your head. And really, it's a reflex. Your eyes are supposed to be on the horizon. So when you do like that, hold that, and then just let your eyes come to the horizon. I don't know the muscles. You don't need to know the muscles. The muscles are in a reflex. Your head, your eyes are going to come to the horizon if you put your neck in the right position. And we have just gotten our eyes on the horizon. That's a reflex. It's part of being alert. Then the next thing we're going to do is, we're at level 6 now. Go back and check everything else. Put it here. Stop here. Okay. Body orthodontics. Okay? That means I'm going to defend myself against something. And I will tell you right now, if you ask a lot of people, when your head is too far forward, 2 choices of treatment. I'm giving you mine. Mine is stack that spine from the seat up, because you can't do this one point at a time. You got to have that whole spine stacked, and then as a topper, let that head sit erect. And that's the erect posture's correction. Now, I tell you that that's how it's done. That the head, because what it does is it's taking care of the cause of the problem. All of this was the cause of the neck problem. You can't get that spine to come up and get right when you slumped like this. So it's here and here. Others will tell you, they'll sit there and see somebody's head forward, and they will tell you to do this. Now, believe me, I've taught that. I was taught that. Okay? I think that's the prevalent way of doing it. You do it like that. What's wrong with that? Well, my sister and my husband, every time I used to try and do that, they would say, no, that can't be right. That doesn't look good. And I ask you, did you dislike that look? I know why you dislike it, because it's wrong. The wrong muscles are doing it. When I put it here, here, and here, I've taken care of the problem. When you just take your head and jag it back, all you're doing is saying, push back, and I'll tell you, you got the wrong muscle. You never close those vertebrae out. Those vertebrae will be wide open. Those top vertebrae will be wide open, and you just bend your neck back. And the muscle that can do that is longus colli, because he's sitting right there. And so if you hold everything and contract it, he just sort of bends things into place. And it doesn't help you. If that's wide open and you bend, you end up like that rather than like that. This is supposed to be a curl, not a kink. That's when you've gone stack, stack, stack. And now you've got a nice chin rather than that waddle. This doesn't show the waddle. But baby, I tell you, do this and look under there and tell me if you like it. And that's what my sister used to tell me. I'd be trying to sneak it back, and she said, no, let that go. You're pushing that too high. So the answer is this, not that. I'm defending why I say mine. Mine ends up with your head in what's called the regal position, or royal position. One of my people that I talk to people all the time who have really good posture. People in my neighborhood, when I run into someone who has good posture, I'll go in and address them. And one of them told me that it's how you present yourself. So this posture is considered the royal posture. Holding your head high is considered royal. And I tell you, it's how you present yourself. I'm sorry you think I'm holding my head too straight, but this is what lasts. Your head starts going forward, and you've got what it's going to take to pull you over. Hold yourself up high. Now that we're here, we're in erect posture, let's play with it for a while. I want you to get all your points together, and we're going to practice 7. And 7 is, I'm going to tell you, put your tongue in the top of your mouth, just rest it up there. That'll start training this area to get tight again. Just don't force it, just make sure your tongue is at the top of your mouth, spreading out in your roof. At the same time, you do every one of the moves, and I'm going to add one more. Tighten in the lower stomach, just below the belly button. Pull that in up, because as you sit up straight, it has room to pull in now. Pull up, push your isha tugrashta in the chair. Put your hand in the royal position, and this time put it on your belly button so that your shoulder has plenty of room to let everything out. Widen, widen, right? Soften that widening. Roll back, lift up, and now push from your seat into a piece of lead. You are now an ink pen. You are now a pencil. And I want you, with the softest movement you can, write your name or write the alphabets in cursive in the sky. Just close your eyes and write the alphabets, and we'll see how far you get into it. Just get up and move as you write your alphabets and feel. And I'm just going to leave you there for a little while. Check out all your points and make sure you're doing it and do it. It's soft. Hold everything soft, but right. Stay with the feeling. Feel your body. This is an internal thing. Okay, come out of it. That was step 1 through 7. I want you to respond, record your responses. I want you to take your phone. Your phone is a camera. Take that phone. We didn't do it today, but the next time you come, take that phone and put it over to the side and have it looking at your side view like my camera is looking at me now, right? And record yourself as you correct yourself, as you follow the instructions. And then go back and look at it. You won't be able to see my illustrations. Hopefully my speech is enough to let you know what I'm telling you to do. I hope there are not too many thems and hers rather than points. But see yourself erect, get erect. And try and beat it. Try and get better constantly. But don't do it by force. Do it by knowledge of I could widen that a little bit more maybe. You know, or I like it. Once you get it flat, don't go for flatter. Once you get it flat, once you know how to pull every part together, I'm not striving for too much more right now. The only one I strive more for is the tongue and the top of the mouth as I try to retrain my ankle to come back. Okay? But use your camera to document who you are. Right? Okay, take one and somehow make it into a picture and record your pains on them right now, starting for the next month. Record any pains and where they come, and in time they'll go away, and in time you'll understand why your posture was causing that. Next thing, get your waist-hip ratio by measuring your waist, holding it as tight as you can, but normal tape strength. Okay, at its narrowest point, and then measure your hip at its widest point, and get the waist-hip ratio. Waist the top number, hip the lower number, and watch that change. Because you can gain weight, and your waist-hip ratio stays about the same. So I know that. So that's a standard. And then look on Google on what it means when you have healthy waist-hip ratio. Why would you want it? Then finally, if you have an imbalance, this allows you to change yourself as an individual. If you have an imbalance, let's say this is erect and you're like that. With exercise, there's nothing you can do on this side because muscles don't push. The only thing you can do is train those muscles to be stronger. So that if you have a scoliosis, I'm not telling you to correct it, but you can hold it from going worse by downloading just a little bit more on the elongated side. Okay? Record those. Okay? Okay. Now to tell you why you have pain. I want you at some point to go and get yourself a bottle of wine. And I want you to hold that bottle of wine just up like that. And I want you to know that that's just the weight of the bottle. And as long as it's within a narrow range, you're just balancing that. And that's no work. That's a balancing. That's just the weight of the bottle. But now let that bottle sling out to the front a little bit or out to the side a little bit. and you find the weight that comes from poor posture. Okay? Once you get that, let me tell you that your head is 10 pounds. That bottle was nowhere near 10 pounds. Think of what kind of work is happening in your shoulder if you've let your head go out that far. That's the reason I want you to feel that. I want you to feel how gravity beats you down. And if you have not made holding yourself plumb with gravity by 80, while most of us are just above a cane. If you don't defy gravity, gravity gets every little bit you give to it by letting it go downhill. It uses against you to beat you down. So by the time you're 80 and you've given it just a little bit, by the time you're 90, it's got you. And so that's what you're doing. That also explains why if your head is upright like this, I'm telling you, get your head upright. Close those spaces, lift that up, make that. That means there's very little work to do there. But now, look at that head that's leaning forward at its base. Now, the muscles that have to fight it are now no longer these muscles because they're not fighting it. There's the evidence they're not fighting it. They're not fighting it. That job gets passed to your trapezius, and now you're wondering why you have a pain over here. That's the weight of your head. You know, that's the reason there's a knot. You go to a massage therapist, and right in this, on most people, there's a knot there of pain. That's from constantly holding your great big old head by muscles that weren't intended to do it. The muscles that were supposed to do it were little bitty short muscles, but short muscles really close to this joint that they're supposed to control are strong muscles. So you might think I told you to look at some little bitty muscles right in there and give them the job. But they were working, this is the joint they're working against, and they were sitting in this space. They were short and heavy for the job. Give that job to the muscles that were intended to do it. And the way to do that is to like that and get rid of the pain. I've given you your instruction. We are having, if you drive, I put this little in because this is a real little girl and she's playing with a computer. Her mama entertains her by just handing her phone. This child has gotten good at the phone, but she's ruining her posture real early. There's what I'm talking about. Look at the work in that as compared to this young lady, and that young man, and this old lady. Look at the work that's being eliminated. We all have jobs where we can't help but fight the weight. Try and sit up as straight as you can, as much as you can, right? Balance it all off, but you can't get that in isolation. You got to have that body erect. You have to have all of that erect to get your head right. Make it your goal. I'm trying to set your goal so that if we live to be 100 or 120, they say life expectancy might get to be 150. It must be in the health of the, they're going to get rid of cancer and all that. But if we don't have any better posture than that, we're in trouble. And we have people who will teach you to stand up, people you respect, who will teach you to stand up, pushing your body against the wall. Why that is wrong. That is wrong because they presuppose, I found a book, my sister gave me a book, they presuppose that the spine are little blocks like a kid, bigger at the bottom, smaller at the top, but they thought the spine was stacking blocks. The spine is not stacking blocks, it's stacking vertebrae. And the reason the vertebrae have their shape is because the body of the vertebra is thicker in the front, narrow in the back, in the lumbar, low back, and neck. Different mechanism in the neck, but the same thing. It's thicker, and so you're stacking it, can't be against the wall. It has to be those muscles right there and here in this area, they're thicker in the front, narrow in the back. That's the only way contraction can work in both areas. If you contract this, that makes it right. And if you contract that, that makes it right. Because you stack in the vertebra. Thank you for coming. Teach yourself with mirroring. That's what it called when you use that phone. Tie it to your smart TV and learn how to make yourself, make videos of yourself. I always worked with a three-leaf mirror, and I used to sit up in my early days, I used to sit up in that mirror and watch myself. I turned a video camera in there so it could see three sides. And so I worked out what I was doing that way. Work that, take the time to learn. This is worth it. This is how you get to old age and not need a walker. This is when you get to old age and you carry yourself like somebody much younger than you are. Okay? Thank you for coming. Return again soon. Please subscribe and ring the bell. Like, okay? And tell friends and family about it. My goal is for this to be common knowledge. This is what we need. We are an aging population, okay? And our age is showing in our posture, okay? And it doesn't have to. It's only happening because we as a population, not just in America, in the world, we don't know exactly how to sit up straight. There are families that teach people in that family to sit up straight, but on a whole, we've left that one out. We know how to get power, we know how to get endurance, but we don't know how to get posture. I present to you the erect posture, and I ask you to share it with others. Thank you for coming. Share with me. Share with me what didn't come through right to you, okay? You didn't get it. Tell me how to improve it, or tell me what helped you the most, okay? Tell me if you felt pain, leave. I know that there are people who the only reason they sit up straight is they found out in sitting up straight they get out of pain. I'm one of them. I used to have to get shots in my sacrum because I didn't know how to protect my back. Learn how to protect yourself. Thank you very much. Come again.